everybody, it's Dr. Joe and Mr. Handsome Bear, and today I'm going to show you 7 treatments for groin strain. So let's get started. Disclaimer alert, disclaimer alert. So the first stretch for groin strain is going to be lying down. This one might be the stretch you want to start off with because it's not quite as tense because I'm lying down. So get your legs kind of in that hook lying position or with your knees propped up, and then you're just going to gently bring your knees down. So this is kind of like a butterfly stretch, but this is a lying down butterfly stretch. So it's not quite as intense on the groin area or those adductors, but this is going to give you a nice stretch to start off with. So when you start off with this stretch, you want to hold it for 30 seconds if you can. If this is easy, you can place your hands on your inner thighs and just push down a little bit. But again, if you have a strain in there, this might be plenty for you. So holding the stretch for 30 seconds, coming back up, and then do that 3 times. You can do this stretch several times throughout the day, doing that 30 seconds 3 times each. So the next one, while we're still in this hook lying or knees bent position, you're going to do kind of what we call a knee rollout. So this is kind of working the groin a little bit, but still stretching it a little bit. So if it was my left side, I'm going to do just like it sounds. I'm just going to roll out that knee while trying to keep this one up in the same spot, and then gently come back up. So usually the going down part is kind of stretching it out, and then when you bring it up, you're doing a little bit of strengthening because you're going against gravity. So this is still kind of early on when you're still a little bit tender, but it shouldn't hurt. It might be slightly uncomfortable, but you shouldn't have any pain with doing this. So again, just maybe starting off with 10. You can do maybe 2 sets of 10 and do that several times throughout the day. But don't feel like you need to overdo it. You don't want to do a whole lot where you're just irritating that strain even more. So while you're still in this position, we're just going to go through the stuff. Grab maybe a ball, basketball, soccer ball, something like that. If you don't have a ball in your house, you can just kind of fold up a pillow, but you just want to have something in between your knees so you can squeeze into. So this is kind of an isometric exercise for the groin area where you're activating the muscles, but you're not really moving them, so they shouldn't be quite as painful as if you were doing maybe like a band workout with it. So all you're going to do is just squeeze in. Hold it for about 3 to 5 seconds and then relax. So again, it shouldn't be painful. You might feel, a little bit of pressure in there, and that's fine, but it shouldn't be painful while you're squeezing in. So just squeeze enough where you're like, okay, I feel it, but it's not painful. Again, holding it for that 3 to 5 seconds and maybe doing 10 of those couple sets. Some people ask about the size. Usually you want it to be so your knees are about shoulder hip width apart. So something smaller like a tennis ball or even like a lacrosse ball or something is probably a little bit too small. You want it to be a little bit bigger so you can get a nice push into it. So then after that, you're going to roll over onto your side and start doing some hip adductors, AD exercises. So with this one, when you're on your side, you really want your hips to be perpendicular to the floor. And if you can't get on the floor, you can do these all on your couch or in your bed. You don't have to get down on the floor. Some people like the leg to be in the back, and some people like the leg to be in the front. Make sure you're lying down. I'm just pulling up my head so I can talk to you. I'm going to put my leg in the back just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. You want to keep that leg nice and straight, and if you pull your toes up, that's going to help lock it down. So the side you're working, you want it to be on the floor. And then you're just going to lift it up and then slowly come back down. So it's not going to be high. This isn't going to be one where you're going to be able to get that leg high. And again, it should be comfortable. So if you're lifting it up here and it's really hurting that groin area, those adductors, then you might not quite be ready for this one. So again, you can start off with 5, you can start off with 10, do a couple sets, and do a couple sets of those throughout the day, just kind of working it out. So then the next one is going to be a seated butterfly stretch. So if you did the one where you're lying down and you didn't feel a really big stretch, then you can do a seated butterfly stretch. But this one's going to be a pretty big stretch, and there's a couple ways where you can start off with it easy and then work your way into making it a little bit harder. So your feet are going to be together. I like starting with them far out, so then you're not getting a whole lot of strain on the groin area yet, and then you can just slowly start bringing them in until you feel a stretch. The key with this is to keep your back straight. Some people want to kind of like curl down and do this, but I'm really not getting a whole bunch of a stretch doing this. If I keep my back straight and lean forward at my hips, I'm going to get a much better stretch. So the closer you bring in your feet, the more of a stretch you're going to get. So if you can get pretty far in and you're still not feeling a big stretch, maybe you're a very flexible person in general, you can put your elbows on your inner thighs and then just gently push down those knees while you lean forward, and then you're going to get even bigger stretch. But again, you want it to be comfortable, you want to feel the tension, but you don't want it to be painful. So holding that for 30 seconds, doing that 3 times at one sitting, and then doing that a couple times throughout the day. So the last ones are going to be standing up. So the next stretch is just going to be a standing stretch for your groin. We call this one kind of like a sumo stretch. So if you can't get down on the floor to stretch, or maybe you want a little bit more of an active stretch where not everything is relaxed, you can do a sumo stretch. So you're just going to take your feet and put them slightly past shoulder width, and you're going to go down into a squat position. So really still keep the knees behind your toes. You don't want to come forward. You really want to kind of squat back, get your booty going back behind you, and the lower you go, the more stretch up that you'll get. So if you're coming down like this, take your elbows and just put them on your inner knees right there, and then push outwards. So the lower I go down into a squat and the more I push out, I'm going to get more of that groin stretch. So again, just holding it for about 30 seconds and then coming back up and doing that 3 times. So that one's a little bit more advanced, so you probably don't want to try that one first. You want to do the butterfly stretches and make sure that you're comfortable doing that, but then you can do that one if you feel a little bit better. And then the last one is just kind of a side lunge, but this is going to be for exercising and for stretching, because if you go one way, you're going to kind of stretch out the groin, and if you go the other way, you're going to strengthen it. So basically, it's just like it sounds, kind of a side lunge or a side squat, kind of going out, and as I step out, I'm just going to kind of lean and bend down and come up. So you want to do both sides. You can either do maybe 5 on this side, try and get that leg a little straight. I know that first time I didn't get it completely straight, but so I'm getting a stretch here and I'm working this side, and then you switch sides. So now I'm stretching the other side, but I'm working this side and coming up this way. So since this one is a little bit more standing up, maybe you just want to start off with 5 on each side. If you want to alternate back and forth, you can, or if you just want to do 5 on one side and then 5 on the other, you can. So there you have it. Those were 7 treatments for a groin strain. If you'd like to help support my channel, make sure and click on the link up there. And don't forget to subscribe. Where, Mr. Bear? Down there. And remember, be safe, have fun, and I hope you feel better soon.